Rain pelted the asphalt like shards of glass, turning the small town of Redwood Hollow into a blur of lights and sirens. The night smelled of wet concrete, gasoline, and adrenaline. The perfect storm for mistakes. Officer Ethan Cole, 24, fresh out of the academy, gripped the steering wheel of his patrol car so hard his knuckles went white. His heart was still pounding from the radio call. Suspicious motorcyclist near Highway 17, possible drug exchange. It was his first solo shift. No partner, no backup. Just him, the rain, and the nagging voice of his training sergeant echoing in his head. Trust your instincts, rookie. But don't be stupid. A flash of headlights cut through the mist. A black Harley with a silver skull on the tank roared down the empty street. The rider wearing a leather cut with a flaming insignia. Reaper's MC, Ethan had heard the name whispered in the station. Outlaws, biker gang, dangerous. His pulse spiked. He flicked on his lights. Siren wailing through the downpour. The biker slowed, pulled over near the closed diner, water dripping off his helmet. Ethan stepped out, one hand on his holster. License and registration. He barked, his voice louder than he intended. The biker lifted his visor. A calm pair of eyes stared back. Mid-30s, beard streaked with gray, face calm as stone. "Something wrong, officer?" he said. Voice rough but steady. Ethan's nerves tightened. "We got reports of illegal activity." "Step off the bike." The man raised a brow but obeyed, moving slowly. "Illegal activity? I'm on my way home, kid." "Don't call me kid," Ethan snapped before catching himself. He saw the man's vest again, the Reaper's logo. His training told him to stay alert. "Hands where I can see them," the biker smirked. "Relax. You got backup or something?" Ethan's radio crackled, but static drowned the dispatcher's voice. He reached for cuffs. "Turn around." "You serious?" "Turn around!" The biker sighed, placing his hands on the bike's seat. Ethan grabbed one wrist, but the man suddenly pulled slightly. Not resisting, just enough to show how strong he was. "Watch the attitude, rookie," the biker warned. Ethan clenched his jaw. "You're under arrest." "For what?" "Suspicion of drug trafficking." The man's expression shifted. Disbelief, then laughter. "You gotta be kidding me," I said. Ethan yanked his arm back, forcing the cuff. "You're under arrest." Rain poured harder. The man didn't fight. He just stared at Ethan, cold and silent. Then he said something that would echo in Ethan's head for days. "You just made a big mistake, son." Ethan didn't respond. He pushed the man into the back of his cruiser and drove to the station, soaked and shaking. Inside, Sergeant Lydia Barnes, a veteran cop with tired eyes, looked up as he entered. "Cole, what the hell happened to you?" "Brought in a suspect, ma'am. Biker. Reaper's MC. Might be involved in the drug ring we've been tracking." Barnes frowned, standing up. "You what?" He fit the description. Black Harley, skull logo. "God damn it, rookie!" Barnes's voice went cold. She peered through the one-way glass into the holding room, where the biker sat casually, dripping water on the floor. "That's Dean Walker, vice president of the Reapers," she whispered. "And you just hauled him in like a car thief." Ethan blinked. "Wait, he's the vice president?" Barnes pinched the bridge of her nose. "The Reapers aren't angels, but they keep peace in this town. They don't mess with us unless we mess with them. You don't touch their VP without cause." Ethan's stomach dropped. "Ma'am, the radio said—" "I don't care what it said," Barnes snapped. "Do you have any evidence?" He hesitated. "No, just instinct." She exhaled through her teeth. "Instinct's gonna get you killed one day." Before Ethan could respond, the lights flickered. A low rumble filled the distance, faint at first, then growing louder. The sound of engines, dozens of them. Barnes turned to the window. "Oh no." Outside, the street filled with headlights, Harleys, Indians, Ducatis, roaring like thunder. They lined up across the road, shoulder to shoulder, blocking traffic. 100 bikers, leather cuts gleaming with the flaming skull emblem of the Reaper's MC pedestrians scattered. The rain hissed against their bikes as engines revved in unison. Dean, still calm in the interrogation room, smiled faintly as the noise reached his ears. "Sounds like my boys showed up," Ethan's heart pounded. They can't do that, right?" "That's illegal," Barnes cut him off. "They don't care what's legal." "You took their VP." Outside, the bikers began surrounding the station, headlights forming a ring of blinding white light. The street vibrated with the collective growl of 100 engines. Barnes grabbed the radio. "Dispatch, this is Sergeant Barnes at Redwood PD. We've got a situation. I need backup and barricades at Main Street right now." Static. No response. The signal was dead. Ethan swallowed hard. "They're cutting communications?" Barnes looked at him sharply. "They're not amateurs." Inside the holding cell, Dean stretched, his cuffs clinking. "You should let me go, Officer Cole, before this gets ugly." Ethan squared his shoulders. "You're staying right here until we clear your record." Dean smiled faintly. "You're brave. I'll give you that." Then his tone hardened. "But bravery won't save you when the Reapers ride." Minutes turned into chaos. The power flickered again. Outside, bikers dismounted, some standing guard, others pacing, their faces hidden by helmets. Ethan could hear shouting from the street. A woman screamed. Tires screeched as trapped drivers tried to reverse. The Reapers weren't firing weapons. They didn't need to. Their presence was enough. Barnes ordered 2 officers to lock the entrances. Nobody gets in or out. Ethan stood by the cell window, staring at the army of bikers under the streetlights. "All this for one man?" Barnes gave him a look. "You don't understand loyalty yet, rookie. They live and die by it." He turned to Dean. "You could stop this. Tell them to back off." Dean leaned back, smirking. "And why would I do that? You treated me like a criminal. My boys just came to return the favor." Ethan's frustration boiled. "You could have resisted." "You didn't. Why?" Dean's eyes glinted. "Because I wanted to see what kind of cop you are." "What's that supposed to mean?" Dean didn't answer. He just looked at the clock on the wall, 10:27 p.m. "You've got about 10 minutes before someone does something stupid out there." As if on cue, a biker outside revved his engine so hard the windows rattled. Ethan turned to Barnes. "We can't just sit here." Barnes hesitated. "If we let him go, they'll disperse." "But if we don't," Ethan's voice shook. "We can't give in to intimidation." "Intimidation keeps peace sometimes," she said quietly. Before Ethan could argue, the front door slammed open. Officer Rick Daniels stumbled in, panting. "They've blocked every exit. Main, 5th, even the bridge. They're not letting anyone through." Ethan glanced at Dean. "You planned this?" Dean chuckled. "They did. I just called in late." Barnes rubbed her temple. "Christ. This is going to be all over the news." Dean leaned forward, chains clinking softly. "You want to make it worse? Keep me here." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Or what?" Dean smiled. "Or the Reapers stop playing nice." The station lights dimmed again and a deep bass of engines roared louder than before. The bikers revved in rhythm. Vroom, 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 like a battle chant. Ethan stepped toward the window and froze. The road was completely sealed. One biker after another had parked their rides in formation, handlebars touching. Their headlights pointed straight at the police station. Across the front, one tall rider stepped forward, a giant with tattoos on his neck holding a metal chain. His vest read, "President, Reapers MC." Barnes whispered, "That's Rex Walker, Dean's brother." Ethan felt the air leave his lungs. Outside, Rex pulled off his helmet, rain streaming down his scarred face. He stared at the station, right at Ethan through the glass. Then slowly he raised his hand and clenched it into a fist. Every single engine went silent. The sudden quiet was worse than the noise. Ethan's heartbeat filled the silence. Dean stood, calm as ever. "That's your 10 minutes, officer." Barnes turned to Ethan. "We have to release him." Ethan shook his head. "No, not until I know the truth." Rex's voice boomed through a megaphone outside. "You got 10 seconds to open that door, or we come in and take him ourselves." The sound of gun slides clicking echoed outside. Barnes froze. "They're armed." Dean tilted his head. "They won't shoot first, but they'll make sure nobody forgets tonight." Ethan looked from Dean to the window, the bikers, the rain, the flashing lights. He had no idea what to do. He was a rookie. But tonight, he was the line between peace and a full-blown war. The countdown began outside. 10. Engines roared to life again. 9. Dean's eyes locked with Ethan's. 8, Barnes whispered. Ethan, don't do anything stupid. 7. The glass started vibrating. 6. Ethan reached for his gun, breathing hard. 5. Dean raised an eyebrow. Still sure you're doing the right thing? 4. Rain streaked down the glass like tears. 3. Barnes grabbed Ethan's arm. Let him go. 2. Rex's voice thundered again. 1. The night exploded, engines screaming, boots pounding pavement. The first biker slamming his chain against the police door. Ethan stepped forward, gun raised. And that's when the first window shattered, to be continued. The sound of shattering glass was swallowed by the thunder outside. Rain poured through the broken window, spraying across the floor of the Redwood Hollow police station. Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. Everything felt too fast, too loud, too unreal. Barnes shouted, "Hold your fire!" But the 2 other officers inside had already raised their weapons, aiming at the flickering silhouettes beyond the shattered glass. Dean. Then he twisted the throttle, the engine screamed to life, and 100 bikes thundered across the fading light, not in rage, but in unity. The road swallowed them whole, and the legend of the rookie cop and the outlaw who died a hero began to spread, told in whispers, sung in bars, and remembered by every rider who knew what loyalty truly meant. Because in Redwood Hollow, some men wore badges, some wore patches, but only a few ever earned respect.